Welcome to Our Future is Kind, a podcast exploring how we build the future we want to live in, one kind act at a time. I'm your host, Michael G. Neese, president of Our Future is Kind, and your trusted companion as we search out kindness strategies we can use in our everyday lives. Together, as we chase the idea of building a kinder future, we will interview experts in kindness, team building, human motivation, corporate culture building, relationships, plus politicians, artists, and those with a vision for a healthy and kind future, one we all want to live in and deserve to enjoy together. In addition to interviews, we will consider positive depictions of humanity's future in art, literature, the movies, and media. And we will issue kindness challenges each week, give an update about Our Future is Kind, the company, and what it's doing to stay true to its mission. So, let's dive in. This episode's guest is Rachel Rowan. Rachel is a writer, editor, and content creator for a leadership development and consulting company led by speaker and thought leader Kristen Hadeed. She lives in Alexandria, Virginia with her wife, Matlin, and she is a close personal friend of mine, I am happy to say. Rachel, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Michael. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you here. Now, I introduced you, but I want to ask you, when you think about yourself, what makes you you?
Okay, what a question to start us off with. Wow. I have a tendency to think about myself as the sum of many parts. I am an only child of two wonderful parents. I am a wife to a wonderful woman. I am someone who has deep, close friends who fill my life with so much joy. So I like to I see myself reflected in the people around me a lot. But I am just a person who is, I'm really down to have a good time. That's what I'm here for. We're here for a good time, not a long time. That's how I love to live. So, I'm here to have fun and make people feel good. That's where I'm at.
Well, anytime I've had the chance to be in your actual physical presence or to see you in this sort of context, on screens, there is always this light that is inside of you that I feel. So when you say that you are a reflection of those around you, I think you also know how to reflect out back to people the deep feeling that you have for all of us. So thank you for being that great, kind soul.
That's very sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. So I wanted to have you on this program because I know that you are in service to a lot of people. I know that you work very closely with Kristen Hadeed, thought leader, great speaker, great friend. And I know that, her mission and therefore somewhat your mission is to serve a lot of people. Can you just tell us a little bit about, what do? You say, you develop content. Just tell us about your role. What do you do?
Yes. So my official title is Chief of Content, which is very nebulous. But what I do at my heart is, the purpose of our company is to help leaders create a more human world at work. So we are invested in working with leaders and businesses to create environments that help people feel valued and seen and like they matter at work. Our whole thing is you spend so much of your life at work. It's a third of your life if you really think about it like that. And why would you spend that much of your life at a place that you feel like you don't belong? And it's so important to get that sense of value where you spend this huge part of your life. So that's really our focus. So we do that by helping leaders, we teach tools that just help people see each other and understand each other better. And the reason we do that isn't just the touchy-feely part. That part's nice, but it's really because when we feel like we belong, we work together better. We produce better results together. We have higher performing teams. And so the tools that we teach are all things that our own little team has done over the years. I've worked with Kristen for 14 years. Extremely long time. So everything we teach, we have done ourselves and we have seen the results ourselves. So that's what's really exciting is we get to live this. We built a team where we all feel like we matter. We are valued. We belong. Our voices can be heard. So we understand why that is so powerful to bring to other companies. So that's it in a nutshell.
And the work that you are doing has had great spin-off and knock-on effects for me and for other speakers, for other entrepreneurs. If you can just talk a little bit about it, like what are some of the really cool positive effects that you've seen at various companies where you may have walked in and thought, oh my gosh, this is truly broken. How are we going to do the work here? And then you've seen it turn around.
The best example I could possibly give you is our own company. So there's a much longer story to why I've worked with Kristen for 14 years and I'm only 34 years old. But the kind of high points of it are Kristen started a cleaning business when she was in college, and I answered a Craigslist ad to work for that cleaning business when I was in college. So I was part of this company for for really almost its entire tenure. And where we started was a team of college kids led by a college kid who didn't really know how to treat. We were just kind of making it up as we went along. So like, we didn't know what it meant to build a workplace where, you show people that they're valued. We were just kind of like building relationships as we went, serving our customers as we went. And we realized that the more we grew and we didn't have a framework for how we're supposed to be interacting, things got kind of nasty. There was a point where, we were all working really hard, but no one was taking care of themselves. People were not connecting on a human level. And the switch really happened when Kristen went to this workshop where she learned these tools for communicating. She learned something very simple, but it's the steps of listening. And you think about it, you're like, everybody knows how to listen, right? That's not that hard. Everyone knows how to listen. But she brought these tools for a team, and she did this exercise with us that just absolutely blew the doors off and was like, whoa, we actually can't hear each other right now. We have not been listening to each other, and it changed the game. So it really is, the biggest change in our company was going from a place where people worked together but didn't really know each other on a personal level to a team where we have context for our lives. We understand why people's behavior is what it is. We have, we know what happened in their lives in the past that made them who they are today because we started listening to each other, which is just kind of amazing. So that was just one step, but really the changes in our own company were incredible. 15 years ago, or 14 years, it hasn't quite been 15 yet. 14 years ago, I would have said, this company is great. There's a lot of good things to love about it, but I can't see us getting to a place where we could work so seamlessly together and know each other so well. But we really have, which is kind of amazing.
It is amazing. As an outsider who's been looking in for several years and then has had the chance to work with you a little bit, it's really attractive. It is this place that seems, at least from where I sit, like you are heard, and the fact that you have these great skill sets can be leveraged for the greater good of the company and then for everybody that you serve. That's got to feel really satisfying.
It's so satisfying. I regularly brag that I have the best job of anyone that I know. But not just because I like the work that I do, which I do, but I found a leader who can see people's potential and then draw it out in such an incredible way. And that really has been the through line of my whole career. And that's why I've stuck with it for as many years as I have, because I made a connection with the person who was really willing to help me discover who I really am and what I'm really good at, and then put me in a place where I can do those things every day.
And you have a background in writing, I know, and have helped capture a lot of these concepts and helped publish them out. I know when Kristen wrote her first book, Permission to Screw Up, great read for anybody who's out there watching or listening. Please go ahead and find it on Amazon. Such a good book. Kristen reads it in the Audible audio version, so get that as well. It's also wonderful. But what was your involvement on that book?
That book really changed things for me. So before Kristen got her book contract, I was mostly working in the cleaning side of the business. I had stepped back to kind of mostly focus on the writing and the behind the scenes stuff, not so much running the cleaning business. But this book contract came along, and Kristen looked at me and said, "Hey, you have a journalism degree. how would you feel about helping me bring this to life? So we worked really closely together with a team of editors and a few other people on our team, and spent 2 years, I think 2 years, writing this book, bringing it to life, going really deep in, you really got to go in on it when you're writing a book that is as raw and honest as Permission to Screw Up is. It took a lot of collaboration, and we both learned a ton in the process. Neither one of us had ever written a book. I came in with writing skills, but like nothing on this scale. So it was amazing. We worked very closely together to tell the story, and I learned how to write in her voice, but also help her shape her own voice. And it was an incredible experience.
When I last spent time with you and with Kristen, she had mentioned that a lot of what she does is she parses out her thoughts and then hands it off so that it can be kind of restructured, or she can get good reflections and insights from you. I found that to be really impressive as well. So.
Yeah, it's a process it's come together quite organically over the years, and it took us a while to find our rhythm. But Kristen has such a gift for speaking and communicating, and she's also an incredibly busy person. So really, I'm just kind of helping her round out what she's able to offer to people. So she, the way I help her communicate the ideas that she has to the world, simply by shaping them and getting them on paper. It's all her, and then I add my little flair and my little spin, and then we introduce it to the world.
Yeah, well, I have seen you have light bulbs kind of go off over your head when any number of people are around you, and then you reflect back in about, a sentence, maybe two, just this one nugget of wisdom that helped us clarify what we were trying to say. So amazing. I love what you bring to the table. It's so cool.
Thank you.
So I wanted to dig into something else. At Our Future is Kind podcast, one of the things that we really try to think about is, what does the future look like? Who should be there? How do we all treat each other? How do we, like you said earlier, how do we hear each other better? Well, you have mentioned that you were married to a woman, and I have many people who are in my close circle. I have people who are in my family who are on the LGBT community, and quite a number of them are also in the trans community, and specifically, I wanted to get your thoughts on current events. You don't have to get into specifics. We're not looking to make this political, but just generally speaking, what are your thoughts on being married to a woman, and how do you approach life these days?
Big question, important question. I am very lucky and blessed to have an incredible relationship with my wife, who is a trans woman, and she has been out as a trans woman for about 3 years. We've been together for more than 10 years. When we met, she had no inkling that this was part of her path. When we met, she was in the Navy, and very masculine. She was a man when I met her, and that's how we related for many, many years. And it was actually at the beginning of COVID when she came to me and said, "By the way, I think I have some gender stuff going on." So it was such a long and involved process to try to come to terms with her new identity, both for her and for me. And I always tell people, had it been anyone else in my life, it would have been immediate. "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. Let's go. Let's explore this gender thing. Let's do it." But because it was my partner, the person closest to me in my life, it's not that I wasn't supported from the get-go, but it was also like, oh, I have to think about how this affects me in a way that I was not expecting to.
It changes your identity as well.
Completely changed my own identity. And I had to do a lot of work on that. I had to think about who I am to other people. I had to think about, how I would be showing up in the world as the wife of another woman. I had to decide what that meant for me. And, not just another woman, but a trans woman, and who are some of the most targeted people in our country at the moment. And so all of that combined has really made me think very hard about, how we show up for communities who are so different than us, what it's like to encounter people different from us in the world. And to me, it goes back to they're not hurting you. You know, it's like you just have to remind yourself it's like someone else's identity and the way they choose to carry themselves. If they're not actually like directing anything at you, if they're not, you know, you're not in a physical altercation with this person, they're not having a, you know, it's like, are they really harming your life? Like them existing as who they are, as the person who makes them feel the best inside, has no effect on your well-being at all whatsoever, but has all the effect in the world on themselves. The difference in my wife between when we met and who she is now is obviously she's a completely different person for some very specific reasons, but also she is the happiest I've ever seen her. She is bubbly. She is light. She has made so many friends since she's made this transition. Not that she didn't have friends before, but like I've just seen her blossom into this gorgeous person who is a joy to know in a completely different way. And I just think about if I had shown up in a different way, if I had not created a kind space for her to talk about who she wanted to be or who she thought she really might be underneath, who would she be today? You know, what effect would that have had if I had tried to stamp out that light, if she'd never gotten to become this person? I'm not saying, you know, I would have been the reason she chose not to transition, but I could have had such a big impact on her in that way. But our reality is so different because we both made a commitment to really work hard on who we are individually as people and show up for each other together. So I don't know if that exactly answers your question, but in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it's just, to me, it's so important to support people for who they want to be.
Absolutely. I have seen so many circumstances where people are told, especially in their youth, don't pursue this, don't be that, don't be a poet, there's no money in that. You should be an engineer. Why don't you do athletics? It helps you with everything else. Why are you doing athletics? Those are not intellectual at all. I mean, the advice is infinite, and I think it usually comes from good places, but I think it also comes a lot from the fear. Can you walk me through this just a little bit? Because
yeah,
you know, there's fear that comes with, oh my gosh, this person is this. I've never encountered this. What do I do now? You know, how do you speak to that fear?
oh my gosh, fear has everything to do with it, really. It's you know, when I think about when my wife first came out to me, first started having this conversation, I I felt the most scared I've ever been in my entire life. I was like, whoa, it was such a huge emotion in me. And at first I thought it was anger. I thought I was angry with her. And then I really had to dig deep and say, oh no, actually, this is because I'm so scared of this huge change. I mean, obviously it was a catastrophic change in my own life, but also in hers. So really I try to keep that in mind when, I encounter people who are, who speak poorly of the trans community or the LGBT community, GT community as a whole. I just have to remind myself that, oh, maybe they're working through fear. Like maybe there's a fear there that they just haven't identified in themselves, and like they're just scared of something they don't understand. And because I know my wife so well and I understand her so well, and I've done my own work of understanding myself, that fear is gone. I really pushed through, and it's like, oh, actually, the fear was telling me that yes, this is a big important change, and it was really scary, but it didn't need to stay that way. Like we got to a place where together we walked through it. We're on the other side of it, where the fear is gone, and it's been replaced by understanding, which is a much better place to have a relationship.
Right. Yeah. So addressing the fear head on sounds like a big strategy in all of this. Yeah.
Oh, very much.
Yeah. So I'm going to just tell you, as a straight white male, when I wake up in the morning, I don't have trans people like knocking at my window or phoning me up and telling me that I should really convert. I mean, like, I guess, I'm not trying to mock the fact that there are people who look a lot like me and express tons of fears, but I think it's worth saying that mostly what goes on over in your household doesn't affect me. No. The things that do affect me about you in your household is that you're really cool and I love knowing you. So let's bring this to our audience now. I want you to tell me two or three really charming, fun things about your wife. And then I'm going to tell the audience a couple of really fun, charming things about you.
Oh
But
my
tell me about
God.
your wife. Tell me a couple of things that you love about her.
Oh, that's very sweet. Okay, I love talking about my wife. I'll try not to gush too much. Sorry.
That's all
One
you
of
want.
okay. One of my very favorite memories that I was actually just reflecting on with her the other day about it was really early in her transition, and we were experimenting with makeup and a wig, and we'd gotten her this kind of like long-haired wig, and I will never forget it. She put the wig on, she walked into our bathroom, she looked into the mirror, and she started looking away. She was like kind of like this. And I'm like, what's up? And she goes, it's like looking into the sun. I can't, it's so bright. I can't even look at myself. I'm so happy. I mean, it just makes me want to cry. Like, it was just such a beautiful, wonderful moment. And like, if that doesn't, solidify that, like, it's worth it to
Yeah.
support a person when they tell you who they really are, it's, there's nothing else for it. So that's just a special memory I think about all the time. But my wife she's so much fun. She has the most energy at 7 o'clock in the morning than anyone I know,
Okay.
which isn't always a great thing for me, but it does mean that every morning she's bright and bubbly and ready to go no matter what, which is always very fun. And we're so silly together. We're very silly people. We enjoy being very silly, and there's just something about being able to, I mean, she's my best friend. Like, we just make each other laugh all the time. We just giggle all day, and it's just so special to have a friendship with, your partner and the person you know the best in your life.
Hmm, that's lovely. That's lovely. Can't wait to meet Madeline at some point in person.
Thank
That will
you.
be so good. So I'm going to tell everybody here some of the things that I find totally charming about you.
You're so sweet.
I had the great fortune of spending almost a week with you and a few other great speakers and with Kristen back in December. Oh my gosh, it was so fun because you were always in and out of the room, making sure everybody was okay. You were bringing us drinks. You were helping us craft some of our messaging, and your ability to see us as us and confer with Kristen and say, yeah, is this what we're both seeing? And then to be able to craft the words around it. Man, I wish I had that gift. That is so brilliant and beautiful. The fact that you are also a Star Trek fan and yeah, exactly, and a Doctor Who fan. I'm like, God, you're so relatable. I mean, to me, to me, a big nerd, that is totally relatable, and I think it's the best thing in the world.
I love it.
Um, so that and the fact that you are also just you're there to hear other people and give great hugs. So I'm just going to say
Oh,
those are some of the very charming things about you that I think make you just an amazing human being. So
thank you. Very sweet.
uh, so um, we're now starting to talk about Star Trek. I managed to squeeze it in there somehow. Yeah.
I love it. Well done.
So, here on our Future is Kind podcast, we think about what is the ideal future for humanity. It's a
Hmm.
really important thing because if you don't have a target, you cannot hit the target,
Yes.
right? We
Yes.
just otherwise we're just waking up, we're doing the work thing, we're eating the meals, and we're going back to bed, and we're not really thinking about it. So we have to have a target. For me, the target is Star Trek. It is where you have all of these amazing people with amazing skills and a sense of adventure, and they want to hear each other and they want to interact with each other no matter what planet they're from, no matter what gender they are, and all of that. So for me, it is Star Trek. So Rachel, for you, it's the year 2125. I want you to think about what is your ideal future? Who's there? What does it look like? What are you looking for if we did all the right things for the last 100 years to get us there? What does it look like?
I love this question, and I love that your answer is Star Trek because I mean, a utopia, right? I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful place where people work together and appreciate. their differences and their strengths. It's wonderful. So aside from Star Trek, aside from, creating the Federation of Planets, I really, I don't have a vision so much as a philosophy that I would love to see in 100 years. There's this question that Kristen uses a lot in her speeches, and it's to help people reflect, and it is, what is it like to be on the other side of me? And I really think that if we could teach people to internalize that and to really consider how they are showing up and how that affects other people, it will create a ripple effect that will just make such a kinder, happier place. Like, if you just imagine the effect that you're having on other people and just make a couple little adjustments here and there, what impact could that have? And I'm not advocating for hiding your feelings. I believe in feeling your feelings. So if you're having a grumpy day, maybe it's bad to be on the other side of you and you simply remove yourself, and that's fine. Feel your feelings elsewhere instead of taking them out on people. But for me, it's more about just how, starting from the self and acting out, how can we just lift up other people by making shifts in ourselves?
So that's actually the second part of our question as well. It's wonderful you anticipated to get us to that brilliant, wonderful, ideal future. What are the brave acts of kindness that it takes to get there? So I'm hearing an awful lot of self-reflection, a lot of I have to understand who I am as a person. I have to be thinking about other people as they present themselves and how to support them. Are there other things that we should be doing over the next 100 years? I mean, think 4 years from now, 20 years from now, 70 years from now. What should people be doing beyond just the reflection and inclusion of others?
I would love to see people really endeavoring to understand the context for others' lives. So it's not just getting to know people on the surface. It's not just like, Michael, what do you do for work? It's, where are you living these days? It's, Michael, what are the events that shaped you in your childhood that I should know about that might inform how you live? No, I wouldn't ever start a question like that. But it's more about, think about the people who you're closest to and what you know about them. I mean, your friends, your parents, your partners, how can you get in the habit of trying to uncover the context for their lives and the way that they show up so that you can support that. So it adjusts how you treat people. Because I think what that does is then when you encounter a stranger and maybe they act in a way that you don't love, your first thought isn't, that person sucks and I never want to get to know them. It's, you know what? Maybe they've gone through some really terrible things and I don't want to add to the terrible things that they've gone through. So I am just going to let them go, have their bad day elsewhere and move on. I guess, my ideas are all smaller. I don't have any big ideas for big change, but I do think that's, I'm a big fan of the ripple effect. So
yeah, no, I think that's a brilliant idea, because if we're each personally taking ownership of trying to uncover what's going on with the other person, I think that's great. Do you have tools for figuring out what may be going on in somebody's background that you can be like, I think I get you better now?
An exercise we did on our team was really open-ended, and it's, tell me about your life. Tell me about something that happened to you. It was one question I think we had people focus on. Tell me about something that happened to you in your past that informs who you are today. And just by starting with that question, it really makes people think. I mean, you can't really just spring that kind of question on somebody. You got to ask it and walk away, give them time to think about it. Sure. But if you do that, especially with the people you're very close to, I mean, the kind of bond that creates, it's like it's what we like to call being vulnerable with purpose. I'm telling you this about my life so that you have a better understanding for who I am and how I got here. I mean, it really is just as simple as asking a question. It's not so much a tool as it's a guide. Start there, and then make sure that when that person is telling you their story, listen. And instead of asking a question, you say, tell me more. Tell me more about that. How does that, what else do I need to know about you? What else do you want me to know? And people love to talk about themselves. So, it's a wonderful place to start.
I think part of the core of kindness is curiosity. And so I love the fact that you're leaning into that so heavily, because that's one of my big strategies as well, is to ask a lot of questions and genuinely care about the answers that come out. So,
Yes.
yeah. Wonderful. Okay, so you are an inspiring person who is also working with inspiring people, doing inspiring things. What do you do to stay inspired?
Ooh. I am a big believer in having fun. I know it's kind of how I opened this podcast, but I really think it's important for even if you're a grown up, that you still let yourself play. So I love fandom. I love engaging in things that just make me giggle and laugh and think. So, if it's about a TV show or a book or whatever, I love to engage with like-minded people and like talk about theories, and just like that kind of lights me up. That kind of like gets me going. I'm like, what a fun thing to think about. Like right now I'm watching Severance, which is an incredible TV show. And I just the theorizing and like trying to figure out what's going on. Like that's just so exciting to me. And like, it's just really inspiring. So I find that when I focus on those things and do them for myself, they kind of bleed out into other areas of my life. So if I'm really lit up about this one thing, I can think about like, what would Mark S. and Severance do about this? How would Heliar feel about this? And that's fun for me. That kind of keeps me going. It's a fun way to live.
Playfulness, I think, is very important. There's a great book called The Power of Play, which I think you would really, really enjoy if you don't already know it. But yeah, the idea that facing the world with a playful mindset can help you kind of tease apart things that other people don't notice at all. So I love that answer. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rachel Rowan, tell me, how can people get in touch with you? What are the big things that you're working on next that you want people to know about? And just, what's going on in your life, and how can people get involved?
Well, thank you so much. I personally am not really on socials these days that much. But anyone's welcome to email me. I'll give you my email to put in the show notes if you'd like. But I work very closely with Kristen, so if you follow Kristen Hadeed on social media, you might see me popping up here and there. So that's a great place to go. But we are really excited in our company. We're working on Kristen's second book. We just had a really big week for it last week. More to come. So that is the really big exciting thing. Yeah, and that's probably what I'm focused on the most, is just bringing another book to life. And I'm really excited about what we have to share with this second one. It's going to be great.
Well, this sounds very exciting. It's wonderful teasers, though.
I know. Sorry, I can't. I'm being really vague and aloof, but I'm also like, I don't know how much I should share. I probably won't yet. It's okay.
No, you're all good. You're all good. So yeah, hopefully everybody who's tuned in right now, get out to Amazon, look up Kristen Hadeed and find her first book, and then make sure to subscribe to her as an author, so that then when the next book pops up, you'll immediately see it. But Rachel, I love this conversation. I love having time with you. Thank you so much for coming on to our Future is Kind podcast.
Thank you, Michael. It was a treat.
This episode's Kindness Challenge. This week, ask someone you care about, what's something in your past that shaped who you are today? Then listen fully without fixing, advising, or changing the subject. Context builds compassion. Want to stay inspired so you can stay kind? Rachel Rowan has some go-to practices for joy and creativity that can help. She advises engage in joyful fandoms like Star Trek, Doctor Who, or Severance. Embrace curiosity and storytelling with others. Ask, what lights me up, and how can I follow that spark today? Lean into play, even as an adult. And let joy in one area of life ripple into others. Thanks again for listening to our Future is Kind podcast, a podcast in search of a kinder future. Go out there and do something kind.